Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Across the Fence. I'm Jolie Whitney. There's no noon news today, and instead we've got a tasty treat in store from our Across the Fence chef de cuisine, Marco Ayala, who's whipped up some Independence Day favorites from the grill to everyone's favorite course, dessert. These recipes are sure to pop at your holiday barbecue or next family gathering.
Thank you, Jolie, and happy 4th of July to you. Hi, I'm Marco Ayala, and I'm here to share another recipe with all of you. And I am very excited to have the opportunity to come to your homes on today, 4th of July, for a little bit longer than I usually do. So I get the opportunity to share, a little extra recipes here and there, and maybe not be so rushed as I usually feel like I am. Tell you some of my tips. But most importantly, 4th of July is a holiday that I really enjoy because it's very family oriented and it's also very community oriented. We all have the opportunity to go to our local 4th of July parades. I very much enjoy going to my local parade here in South Hero. It's always great, and it's a great opportunity to see some of my neighbors, to connect with them, and form a sense of community. However, something that I think is also very, very important is that we do not forget the reason for 4th of July. It's great to have a celebration, and it's great to have good food, good friends, ties to the community, but let's remember to thank a veteran, thank a active military personnel that you see not only on 4th of July, or any day of the year, because thanks to them we have all the freedoms that we enjoy every day. So now that we acknowledge the significance of the 4th of July, let's talk about some of the things that surround the holiday, and one of them is food. So as you can see, I am ready here with my shirt that has like little condiments on it, because I usually would like to wear it on 4th of July. I really enjoy the backyard cooking. And I know that last month we did a segment here on Across the Fence on backyard cooking. And I think it was such a great vibe that I kind of wanted to expand a little more on it. But let's add a little extra. So let's start our recipes with a drink, because the temperatures are rising, it's getting warm outside, and we're getting thirsty. And as I was at my local grocery store, I found this big watermelon, and I just couldn't resist getting it. So I got home and I was thinking, I don't know what to do with this. And then it hit me, let's make a drink. And that's how I came up with the idea to make a sunset watermelon refresher. And look at this. Doesn't this look really nice with the two colors right here? A chunk of watermelon there as a garnish, and it looks like it would be a cocktail that you will find at a fancy bar. But it is what I call a mocktail because there's no alcohol in it, but it is equally refreshing, and it is something that the whole family is going to enjoy. Granted that you can also add your favorite spirit, wink wink, if you decide to. But as I said, this is totally family friendly. So let me tell you how to put it together. First, take one watermelon and cut it in half. Then, very carefully, you're gonna take that half and you're gonna cut it into slices. And very carefully, you're gonna remove the rim of the watermelon. Now, something that I think is very important for you to know is that when you remove the rim of your watermelon, you want to just keep the red part. If there is any of this white part in your watermelon, I will say go back and shave it off, because this section tends to be a little bitter, where all the good flavors and that sweet taste comes from the red part. Once you remove the rim, you're going to cut your watermelon in chunks until you get about 4 to 5 cups. Transfer your 5 cups of watermelon to a blender and add about half to 1 cup water. Blend it well until it's very smooth. And of course, my 2 little assistants, Nico and Nabi, came over to see if I had a little extra watermelon to throw their way. And sure enough, I had a couple of chunks and they really enjoyed it. And I know that when we're cooking and we have our pets around, we kind of want to share a little bit of the bounty with them. However, it is very important that you make sure that the food that you're giving your pets is safe for them. Watermelon is actually very good for dogs in moderation because it's high in sugar. Same goes for apples, same goes for strawberries. However, there's other foods that are not good for your pets. For example, chocolate. Chocolate is actually very toxic for dogs, and it's actually not great for cats either. So always make sure to check with your vet or to do a search online before you feed your pet any food from the table. Next, you're going to take the watermelon puree and you're going to strain it through a fine mesh sieve. I like to do this twice to remove all the pulp and all the solids that might be in there. And look at the color of that mixture. That is the base of your mocktail. At this point, you can actually get all your watermelon, make this whole process, and instead of making mocktails, you can just make a watermelon refresher by just adding a little bit of water and a little bit of sugar. Really is your choice. However, in this case, we want something that is a little bit more fun. Then you're gonna put your watermelon mixer back in the blender and you're gonna add about 1/4 cup sugar and you're gonna blend it well. To assemble your mocktail to a tall glass, you're gonna add plenty of ice. You're gonna fill about half of the glass with pineapple juice. Then, using a spoon, very carefully, you're gonna add your watermelon mixer. And you want to do this very carefully because this is what allows the colors to be separated. And finally, you're gonna garnish it with a piece of watermelon there and a maraschino cherry that we're gonna put in there. And it's very easy to put together. I'm gonna try to do it here live just so you see the process once again. So we have our glass there with ice. We're gonna add our pineapple juice. And then with a spoon, we're very carefully going to add the watermelon mixer. And as you can see, it's kind of sinking to the bottom, which is what you want really this to do, so the colors are slightly separated. Then you're gonna take a little piece of watermelon, put it right there, add a maraschino cherry, and you can add a straw, and you're all done. As I said, you can also add the spirit of your choice if you decide to do so, but it's absolutely not necessary because this is a drink that is going to keep you cool on these warm days. So let's give it a try. Oh my, that is really good. And as I said, it's very refreshing. You're getting your share of fruit here. I think this mocktail is a winner in my book. So I really hope you give it a try and you share it with all of your family because this is something that the kids are probably going to love, and it's a good way for them to sneak a little bit more fruit into their diets. So I hope you give it a try. We're gonna put it aside here so we can move on to our next course. And now it's time for an appetizer because, well, we already have our drinks covered, but it's always nice to have a little something to sort of like get the appetite going. And as I said, I wanted to use my grill because I think that using the grill is something that everybody does on the 4th of July because everyone is out in the backyard, on the outdoors, and we're all having a good time. And as I said, it's a perfect time to bring the grill out. So, having said that, just because you're making an appetizer that is good for the backyard doesn't mean that it has to be simple or it can be a little fancy. So, how about we try some grilled apples with prosciutto and honey? And look at that. As you all know, apples are one of my favorite things. I use them often. I especially like Vermont apples, which I know they're not out yet. However, this is also a recipe that you can pin now, so you can use it also in the fall once the apples are ready. However, it is worth going to the store and getting some apples for this recipe because they're grilled. How fun is that? And it's a very easy appetizer to make and everybody's gonna love it. So let me tell you how to put it together. First, you're gonna take one large Honeycrisp apple. You're gonna core it and then you're gonna divide it into 8 chunks. Then you're gonna brush your apple slices with olive oil. And I'm using a spray because I find it much easier than trying to use a brush. Finally, you're gonna season your apples with salt and pepper. Because this recipe really is a little sweeter and salty, we don't really want the acidity of a lime or a lemon. So what do we do instead? We use a little bit of olive oil. You can also use canola oil or the oil of your preference. And this is basically going to do the same thing that lemon juice will do, which is prevent the apples from browning. Then you're gonna take a few slices of prosciutto, and depending on the width, you're gonna cut it in half or thirds. Then you're gonna take a slice of the long pieces of prosciutto, and you're gonna wrap it around your apple slices. And while your grill is cold, is the best time to clean it. So as you start preheating it, you can use one of those wire brushes and scrape all the bits and pieces from your previous meal to get it ready for today's meal. And look at that, perfectly clean. Then you're gonna preheat your grill to medium temperature, about 300 degrees. Then you're gonna grill your apples and prosciutto for about 3 to 5 minutes. And make sure to turn it around a few times so it grills evenly. Once the apples are nicely cooked, you're going to transfer them to a plate. And while the apples are still warm, you're going to drizzle them with honey, chopped salted pistachios, chopped fresh thyme, and to finish it off, I am going to add a little bit of goat cheese here on top. And look how good that looks. Oh my gosh. My mouth is literally watering just from looking at this and sprinkling it with cheese. However, it is your preference whether you want to use goat cheese or you want to use feta cheese. So if you want to give it a little bit of more of a Mediterranean kind of flair, you can use feta cheese, or you can use goat cheese, which really complements the honey and the thyme in this recipe. So I hope you give it a try. As you can see, it's so easy to put together. Start to finish, this is a 15-minute process. Granted that you have all of your stuff already chopped and ready to go. Either way, this is delicious. You're gonna love it, and everyone in your family is gonna love it. And the best thing is that it's very easy to make more, because all you need to do is, get a few more apples, get more prosciutto, wrap it, throw it in the grill, and in 10 minutes you have a hot appetizer that is ready to eat. And I know that there's a lot of grill masters out there, and I'm probably not going to be able to teach you anything new. So instead of talking about how to grill the food, how about we elevate our barbecue sauce game? So how about we try this strawberry Cabernet barbecue sauce? And you heard that right. It's a barbecue sauce that you can make from scratch, and it is strawberry because we have fresh strawberries that are absolutely delicious. I always rave about Vermont strawberries, and it has Cabernet. So you're cooking with wine, so you're not only like drinking it while you're cooking, but you're also using it in the recipe. I know that maybe some of you out there are thinking, well, Marco, I don't drink, I don't like wine, or I don't like drinking wine with my food. Well, not to worry, because we're cooking this barbecue sauce down. All the alcohol in the wine pretty much evaporates, and instead we just get this very rich flavor behind. So if you're curious about it, let me tell you how to make it. First, you're gonna take 4 ounces strawberries, and you're gonna trim them and quarter them until you get about 1 cup. Then you're gonna take half a medium onion, chopped. In this case, I'm using a large onion, so I'm only using a quarter. Then, to a medium saucepan, you're gonna add 1 tablespoon canola oil, and you're gonna set it over medium heat. Once the oil is hot, you're gonna add the onion, and you're gonna season it with salt and pepper. Cook it until golden brown for about 7 to 9 minutes. Stir in your strawberries and half a cup Cabernet Sauvignon. Increase the heat to medium-high and let it cook until the berries are soft, about 3 to 5 minutes. And as I said, all the alcohol in the wine is going to evaporate while you're cooking it. However, it leaves a very distinct taste. In this case, we're using red wine, and we're using Cabernet Sauvignon because it has a very rich flavor to it. Other wine, you can use other wines. It might not be as rich, or it might have different notes. In this case, the Cabernet Sauvignon leaves a little bit of a smoky flavor, which is something that you definitely want in your barbecue sauce. Once the berries are soft, you're gonna add 1/3 cup apple cider vinegar, 1/4 cup sugar, 1/4 cup ketchup, 2 tablespoons Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons Vermont maple syrup, 1 jalapeno seeded and diced, and 3 cloves garlic. Bring everything to a boil, reduce the heat, and let it simmer until slightly thickened, about 8 to 12 minutes. And once it's all cooked, you're gonna let it cool for a little bit, and you can transfer it to a blender. In this case, as you can see, I'm using an immersion blender that I can put directly into my pan. And make sure to blend it until it's very smooth. And for the barbecue sauce, that is pretty much it. All you need to do is put some chicken or some pork chops into a bowl, add your barbecue sauce, let it rest there for a little bit so it really absorbs all those flavors, and then you bring it to the grill. Set your grill to medium-high heat. Place your chicken or pork on the grill and use some of the leftover barbecue sauce during the cooking process so it's really infused with the flavor. Grill your chicken until the internal temperature reaches 165 degrees. And I cannot stress the importance of making sure that your chicken or pork is cooked through, because you don't want to risk getting sick from undercooked meat. I know that some people like your steaks medium rare, even a little rare, but however, with chicken and pork, you don't want to eat it rare. So always make sure to check what the internal temperature should be, and don't remove it from the grill until your food reaches that temperature. And just like that, you can make a chicken that is so absolutely delicious and is so different, because trust me, this is not a barbecue sauce that you're gonna be able to find at the store. I'm pretty sure that your family and guests are gonna be asking you for the recipe, because it is very different. And something that you can do after is add some more of the barbecue sauce to your chicken, just to make sure that the flavor is really there and really present. I hope you give it a try. Let me know how you like it, because I'm curious. I really liked it. I'm really curious to see what you think. So make sure to go to the Across the Fence Facebook page and send me a message or leave us a comment under the video and let me know if you try it and what you think about it. Okay, so now that we're done with the main course, it's time for dessert. And I wanted to make something simple, something easy. So I really wanted to make a dessert that you could make in the grill, because, well, we already have our grill ready to go. We may as well use it. And I also wanted to do something that wouldn't take a lot of time, because, well, on 4th of July, you're probably entertaining. You want to spend time with your friends and with your family, so you don't want to spend tons of time in the kitchen. And that's how I came up with the idea to make this upside down pineapple pound cake. And this could not be easier. I am telling you, you're gonna be impressed of how easy this is and how good it tastes. So let me tell you how to put it together and how to make this on the grill. First, you're gonna take a large piece of heavy duty aluminum foil. In the middle of it, you're gonna place 2 tablespoons unsalted butter cut into pieces. And make sure that it's in an even layer. And 1/4 cup brown sugar. Then you're gonna take 3 slices fresh pineapple and you're gonna place them on top of the brown sugar and butter mixture. Then you're gonna take 3 maraschino cherries and place them on the holes on the pineapple slices. So far it's business as usual. It's brown sugar, butter, your pineapple, maraschino cherries. However, the twist comes when I tell you that the pound cake came from the store. So it's much easier to assemble. So take a store-bought pound cake, remove it from the container, make sure to take off any paper that it may have, and you're gonna position it in the middle of your aluminum foil, aligned with the pineapple slices. Bring the aluminum foil together and fold it to seal tightly. Then you're gonna set your grill to medium-high heat, and you're gonna put your cake pineapple side down, rotating occasionally until all the butter and sugar are caramelized. How will you know that it's ready? Well, you can peek in and you're gonna see the sugar bubbling. Then you're gonna remove it from the heat and you're gonna let it stand for 10 minutes. Now, don't tell me that is not super easy. Having said that, you can also make this at, like, say if you're camping, all you need to do is bring all the ingredients necessary for this recipe. And look at that. It looks so yummy. It looks so moist because, as you can see, all the butter and the sugar that caramelized seeped into the cake. So these are my recipes for this month. I hope you enjoy them. I hope you give them a try because, well, there's something for everyone. Whether you just want a mocktail that you can turn into a cocktail, or a cool appetizer that is not necessarily ordinary, or a very easy dessert to go with your made from scratch barbecue sauce, we got you. So, as I said earlier, remember to connect with Across the Fence. So look us up on Facebook. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get all the latest updates from Across the Fence right in your phone or your computer. And remember that you can find all these recipes in the UVM extension website in the tab for Across the Fence. On that note, enjoy the rest of your 4th of July. I hope you get out to enjoy some of the parades, or even better, participate in one of them. And from my kitchen to your kitchen, happy cooking and happy 4th of July. Cheers. This is great. Back to you, Jolie.
Thank you, Marco. I also want to thank the crew behind the scenes here at WCAX who make every day a celebration. Happy 4th of July and have a good one.